Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to another Busta-Bust or Nahhh. Today we're going to be doing a first impressions on the brand new Sony A7S III. Yeah, you know, first hot ticket item. It's been a while since we did a Busta-Bust or Nahhh, but we're back at it again. Trying to get you guys more of a update on how everything's going. So we got the A7S III, you know, this holy grail camera. Right? That's the thumbnail. No. Before getting it, I thought it was going to be a life-changing, like, best camera of all time, like, greatest thing of all, like it's just, like, it's like the Jesus of all cameras, right? But after using it, I did find some issues with it, and some issues I wish I would have known beforehand. You know, I have the Sony A7 III, and I have the A7S III, and I have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, so I can kind of compare them. There are some things that the A7S III does better than the A7 III, and there are some things that the A7 III does better than the A7S III. First things first, I want to tell you guys what I do love about this camera. I love the ergonomics. It looks damn near the same as the A7S III. It just, like, the grip is just a little bit deeper, so it just fits in your hand a little, like, just cleaner. I got a cage, and the cage is pretty nice. This is from a company called Small Rig. The ports on the side actually flip out, and they're like tabs, so that's really nice to just have it flip open, you know. And they have a separate one for the mic jack, and then a separate one for the audio jack. They also have a USB-C for power delivery. The I/O, they killed it on the I/O side. I do appreciate the full HDMI port, mainly because the other HDMI was just so flimsy on the A7 III. Sometimes if I forget my HDMI cord at home, I can always just borrow it from someone else, or someone has a TV that has an HDMI to HDMI or something like that, you know? So it's just very universal. The most important thing that I love about this is the flippy screen. Yes, the flippy screen, the awesome flippy screen. What can I say? Just vlogging with it helps out so much. You can just see yourself and just know that the framing is all good. And then the viewfinder is amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I take photos with it too. Just, you know, social media photos here and there for people. If my clients just want quick little photos like that, boom, shoot it with that. Why not? It's already there. Sure, 12 megapixels isn't ideal, but it works, you know. If you're gonna post it to Instagram, no one in the world is gonna know if it's 12 megapixels or 24 megapixels, unless you're cropping a lot. Then if you're cropping a lot, then just go with more megapixels. So those are the main external differences that I like. There are some other ones. For example, the new hot shoe mount is one of them. I haven't gotten the new mic from Sony, so I haven't really been able to test that out. But essentially, you will be able to have audio go through the top, so you don't have to plug in anything to the side. That's cool. But, you know, I just kind of do more like run and gun stuff where it's not like vlogging stuff. But if I did vlog with it, I think that'd be kind of nice. The one thing I genuinely hate about the exterior of the camera is this top dial right here. I have to press in to change anything. I wish it was just like a press to lock thing, because there's a press to lock thing for the exposure dial, which is awesome because I can just click it, and then when I have it, then it's locked after I click it again. The SD card slot ports, they're cool. You essentially have 4. Each port accepts SD cards and CF Express Type A cards. So essentially it's compatible with 4 cards, but you can only have 2 cards in there at a time. But I think it was a genius design for Sony. Oh, another hardware thing, you do have a dedicated record button up top. I never use it because with the cage it kind of blocks it, so I just have my record thing to the shutter, so I just shoot with the shutter. Yeah, that's pretty much the major external differences. Other than that, it's the same exact body as the A7 III. Jumping into the internals of the camera, I love the 10-bit color science and all that. Like, just, it's fire. It's perfect. It's awesome. Don't touch it. The 10-bit, working with 10-bit color science is so great. I used to work with it with my Blackmagic. I didn't like the ergonomics of the Blackmagic, and I didn't like how it didn't have autofocus or any of that stuff. I loved how the Sony had autofocus and had the great dynamic range and then the amazing low light. So it's kind of like taking the Blackmagic and the Sony A7 III and just kind of like combining them together to make this one, frankly. That's probably the best way I'd put it. The 10-bit color is such a pleasure to work with. You can actually key out a little bit easier. You can really adjust and push and pull those colors as much as you want. Dynamic range, amazing. I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy good. Like, you can really see more of the highlights. You get 13 stops with S-Log3. I've been shooting S-Log3 primarily, kind of dabbling between S-Log3 and HLG. I did notice that skin tones are a little bit more yellowish, so I just kind of adjusted a little bit back to more of like that orange-ish vibe. But you can adjust that in the phase shift in the camera. Amazing autofocus. I love it. I love the fact that you can like tap for tracking and it just like goes to it, and the tracking is like super sticky. Like you can like have it go out of frame and come back in and it's still like on that thing. I love this camera for that main reason. The autofocus is amazing. You can really fine-tune a lot of that, and the tracking feature is so awesome because if you have a complex shot, it's got a lot of things going on, you don't want to worry about autofocus and it glitching up and whatnot. So just click on the person and have it just track that, and then just do whatever the hell you want with the camera and it'll still like focus on that. So I love that part. So the eye autofocus is also available for video now, not just photo. So that's just been a pleasure to work with, frankly. Like, you know, face autofocus is great, but having it really detailed in onto the eye right there. So I haven't been able to try out eye autofocus for video for animals yet because I don't really do animal videography. It should be good. I've heard a lot of people say that they love it for wildlife photography and whatnot. So not my thing, but I've heard good things about it. Low light capabilities are insane. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even been able to push it to its max yet. The dual native ISO that it kind of has at 800 or 640, 12,800 when shooting in S-Log3, it's crazy. You literally shoot at 10,000 and it's like garbage. That's why I never even shoot at 10,000. But then the second you go up to 12,800, just pure clean. It's like, whoa. Now I'm shooting literally in the pitch black darkness with 12,800 ISO or above, with slow motion enabled with S&Q mode, and the shutter speed at 250th. Like, it's like what? Like, you can do that? Like, before I'd have to shoot in regular motion, not slow motion, so that way I can compensate for the shutter speed in low light. But now I could just crank up the ISO and just have it be chill. Although I wish I was able to use more of the 10,000, 8,000 area. I don't know. I just wish it was more of a usable range for that lower range. I guess I can always move it up to 12,800 and just crank up the aperture, or just put an ND filter on. Don't ever use the gamma assist feature on the camera because that is just completely like, yeah, it's not color accurate. It looks great on here though, but I can't find the LUT that they use for it, frankly. If you guys have that exact LUT that they use in the monitor for the gamma assist feature, let me know because I can't find it and I spent hours looking for it. Oh yeah, the menus are amazing. It's honestly a pleasure to go through the menus. Everyone started like, you know, loving the menus and whatnot. I was like, okay, it's not that bad on the A7 III. I got used to it after using it forever. And plus, if you have everything on your favorites, you're good, you know, it's like whatever. But then when I had it on here, oh man, it's so nice because everything kind of makes sense when you're going down. It's a very intuitive menu and it's user friendly. So great job, Sony. About time. So primarily I've been shooting 24p footage along with 120p at 4K and S&Q. And I've been shooting S&Q because I want the most amount of information, because I'd be shooting music videos and other stuff like that where I don't really need the audio. So to shoot S&Q mode at 120p in 4K, you need this fancy little card right here. And this thing costs like $400. This little tiny thing, right? $400. And that's the only mode you really need this in. If you don't really need this card for any other modes, you will probably just be fine with this other Sony Tough cards. My SanDisk Extreme Pro, which writes at 300 megabits and reads at 299, I believe, or either or, doesn't allow me to record in that higher frame rate for some reason either. I've been able to take this to a couple barbershop videos and just shoot barbershop commercials with them. Primarily, it's been all slow motion, so I've been really been able to get the detail shots. The first video that we did was for Ishmael, my good friend. We did a lot of macro, a lot of close-up of the haircuts, and you know, I honestly didn't really have an issue. I think it was nice with the tracking because I was able to tap the razor and just have it focus on that every time, and it's pretty hard to kind of do that with autofocus and with manual focus, especially when you have the 90mm macro attached to it, because that 90mm is not good for autofocusing by itself, like in real time. It was really nice to have it just tap onto the razor and just have it focus on that, and it just amazing focusing for that. The other one that I started shooting was for Elena, which is an amazing client of mine. She's also a barber. Less of a close-up and more of just dynamic, cool angles, little things like that. Nothing super crazy, but I think it ended up being very well. The colors were very, very well done. And then the final project that I had was with my friend Anita. She had this open house live event thing, so I got to try it out for a live event. It was pretty dark in there, I'm not going to lie, so that's when I had this thing cranked up to 16,000 ISO or 20,000 ISO. I was shooting 4K 60 because I thought 120 was a little bit too slow motion. So 4K 60 or 125th of shutter, and my f-stop was anywhere between f1.8 to f7. Face detect was awesome too, along with eye detect. It was just catching on, and it kind of knew exactly who to catch on to. I don't know how it knew, but for some reason it knew like this is the main person and this is where my framing is, so I'm just gonna focus on this one right here. And when it didn't, I just tapped on the person and just right there instantly and just didn't lose them. There was this one shot with the bartender who was pouring up the drinks, and then he had the drink down here, and then he just doing this like Great Gatsby type of thing. And honestly, it would have been pretty hard for us to time that up, and it would have taken a lot of attempts if I didn't have that tracking autofocus. So I just literally tapped on the cup and it was just there. It was good. Yeah, in the other video I did talk about how the Ronin S and the A7 III was a great pair, but I think this is a better pair. I mean, I think it's just as good, if not better. Mainly because you got that tracking autofocus and you get more of a choice on what you want the autofocus to focus on and more of a control. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. The flippy screen does help out if you're like going down low and whatnot, but I do have a monitor attached to my Ronin S, so that way I can just adjust things and see on the go anyways. It does have great IBIS, I'm not going to lie, the IBIS is pretty decent. I haven't been able to use the active one, mainly because I'm not shooting in 24p. The active one is disabled when it comes to 120p for 4K. I do miss my 24 megapixel A7 III, frankly, just because I would have a little bit more room to crop. But other than that, you really don't notice the difference unless you kind of zoom in a little bit. Then you can kind of see, I wish I had a little bit more resolution, a little bit more detail. Most of my clients post to Instagram anyways. If I did get a client job where someone is actually like wanting photos, like not just a, hey, shoot a video and then shoot some photos if you get some time. If they were like, hey, shoot me photos for my products or shoot me photos for this, I probably would just use the A7 III instead. But the tracking on here, it was very fun to use, and the buffer never filled up, so I was just holding this thing down, just like I thought I had like a G18 in my hand. It was with the CFast card. I've only been shooting with the CFast card mainly because I paid $400 for it. Of course I'm going to use it. Yeah, the main reason I bought the CFast card was because I wanted to make sure that every single recording mode was available to me, no matter what card. Like, I didn't care whatsoever. I wanted to make sure I had everything, because when I'm on the field, like, it just makes my brain a little bit easier. It makes my time to work with the camera a little bit easier when I know everything is available and I can do whatever I want, wherever I want, because I'm already having a lot of stress on set figuring out, oh, I gotta do this or do that or do this. It was pretty great for photos. I think I could honestly see myself using this, mainly because it's convenient and it has great dynamic range. The lenses that I've been pairing this up with are my tried and true 24mm G Master. I can't recommend it enough, frankly. 1.4 is just a pleasure to use. 24mm is a great range. You can really get full environmental shots with it, along with some decent like portraits, depending on how you take the portraits. My other favorite lens, the 55 Zeiss 1.8, that one is just my bread and butter. That is my tried and true portrait lens, and I love using it for some slow cinematic B-roll sequences. So yeah, that's my first impressions on this amazing camera and the pros and cons of it. Like I had said, there's a lot of pros. The only cons I could really tell are from the difficulties with the noise range I've had with S-Log3. Frankly, that's it. I think that's the is that the only negativity I'm having? Oh, and then the dial, frankly, just turning back and forth from the dial is just really cumbersome. Other than that, honestly, it's pretty good. I just wish I did know a little bit more about the S-Log3 and the range of the ISO, because I do see it in the project at the very end. I'm not sure if you guys are going to see it because of YouTube compression, but on my 5K display, I see a little bit of ISO, which I never was able to see with the A7 III, mainly because the A7 III kind of downsamples. But honestly, it's a great camera, so I still recommend the A7 III over the A7S III, but it really depends on your needs. Because I need the best video and I need really good low light, because I'd be shooting a lot of things in dark situations. For most people, the A7 III is gonna really kill it. Sure, it doesn't have all the great autofocus features, but it has pretty damn good autofocus features already. I've been using it for like what, 3 years or 2 years. So once you get to know it, once you know how that camera works, you're gonna be good. The color science could be better. It's 8-bit, not 10-bit. So if you're gonna be doing a lot of color grading and really intense stuff, and for cinematic purposes, I'd probably go for this one. If you're just gonna do event videography or event photography and whatnot, and you got a little bit more cash to spend, then probably go with this one. But if you're kind of more on that budget, but you still want a premier camera, I'd probably go for the A7 III. Like what Chad said, you can get an A7 III and get an amazing lens like the Zeiss 55 1.8 and still be cheaper than this. That's my thoughts, frankly. But I will say that flippy screen, man, that flippy screen is so worth that extra money. That's what I've been feeling with my A7S III. Really great. Enjoy it. But I will come out with a review within a couple months, hopefully. So after putting it through more and more tests, after using it for my movie, after using it for a bunch of music videos, I will let you know my final thoughts if it's worth the price tag. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. You know, this is our first like big ticket item that we got during the release recently. So like, it's kind of nice, you know, hot ticket item, you know. So if you guys could leave a like and comment down below what you guys thought about this video, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe and, you know, share this with, you know, your friends or your mom or your grandma or your dog, whoever. I'd appreciate that. You know, just trying to get some love out here. Let me know your thoughts on the A7S III. If you guys have any questions, let me know if I messed up anything on this first impressions. I'd really love to, you know, be better at what I do. But yeah, if you have one, what do you think about S-Log3? What do you think about HLG3? How do you like the ergonomics and how do you like the low light, you know? I'd really love to hear from you guys. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, share it with your mom, share it with your dad, share it with your dog, and your dog's friend. Peace.